Greetings. I'm Kim Turcott of kimturcott.com, and I am here today with the Moon Magic energy update for the full moon in Aquarius happening on August 11th or 12th, depending on where you live in the world. And this full moon is also a supermoon. It's the last supermoon of the year, which means that it's closer to Earth than normal, and it appears larger in the sky, and therefore it's giving you that extra oomph, right? There's some extra energy that you're going to feel around this. And I think if you're like me, it's been a little bit crazy, the energy. There's been a lot of, high level energy, especially with Lionsgate just happening on the 8th. There's been a lot of planetary shifting and alignments that have created some pretty intense energies over the last couple of months. And we're still in that heightened state around this supermoon. But that doesn't have to be a negative thing, right? Let's tap into that heightened energy to really go deeper with the lessons of the Aquarian full moon. So Aquarius is all about innovation and shifting and looking at things from a different perspective. And it's also about the greater good, right? You think of the age of Aquarius, the hippie movement. That was all about freedom and changing how things were done, like moving away from this rigid, societal expectations to a more free way of being. And so how can you be more free in your life, right? What are the things that you can do so that you don't feel like you're part of some rigid rule structure, right? Where can you let go and find joy? And by doing that, how will that affect the greater good? I truly believe that the way to shift the world as a whole is for each one of us to do our own work. And as we heal and as we grow and as we feel our joy and as we shine our light in the world, we allow others around us to be part of that energy and hopefully inspire them to do the same. It always reminds me of the quote from Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, where she talks about when you shine your light in the world, you give permission to those around you to shine theirs. That is an absolute truth. So with this Aquarian energy, I want you to think about how you're showing up in the world. It continues the theme from the Leo new moon that was on July 27th. So the beginning of this moon cycle, right? We were in, the new moon was in Leo, and the Leo is about the self. And I talked about how are you showing up in the world? And the card that I pulled that day to kind of augment the message was the Storyteller card from the 7 Energies deck by Colette Baron-Reid. And this is one of those moments where my girlfriends and I look at each other and say, you can't make this shit up. But today, when I pulled the card for today's call, for this video, for the energies for the full moon in Aquarius, I pulled the Storyteller card again. And it just feels so beautiful and such a strong message. It's really affirming that message of when you take care of you, when you're willing to make shifts in your own world, you will then help to affect change in the outer world and in the world around you. Whether you realize it or not, there are people in your life that look up to you, that they see you as a beacon of light, right? So how are you showing up, and what are the things that you can do to take care of you? The world has been in chaos for quite some time, but we don't have to live in chaos personally. And the way that we're going to shift that chaotic energy as a whole is to really take care of ourselves, ground and center, and find our own joy. Be willing to let go of the things that no longer serve us and make room for the things that we really truly want to experience in our lives. So with this full moon in Aquarius, we're being asked to continue that journey of self-care, of looking at how we are showing up in the world, and to continue to work on and take care of ourselves so that we have that positive effect and we have the energy and the sustainability to actually make a difference in the world. The other thing that, I want to talk about is because the energy, some of the energy around the Aquarian full moon is about it's about innovation. It's about looking at things from a different way, right? If there are areas in your life that you've been wanting to change, if there are things, relationships, jobs, body issues, right? What are you looking to change? Have you been stuck? I want you to look at and really tap into the energy of this Aquarian full moon. How can you look at it differently than you've looked at it in the past? I think Albert Einstein said, if you continue to do the same thing and expect different results, that's the definition of insanity. I know it's not the exact quote, but you get my point, right? If you're always doing things the same way, if you're always looking at a problem or an issue that's happening in your life the same way, if you're always meeting it with the same tools or the same efforts, you're going to continue to have the same results. So I challenge you to really ask yourself the question, how can I look at this differently? Really allow your mind to be open to new possibilities, right? This is the perfect time for it. We're at the full moon, a heightened sense of power. There's so much energy. It's also a time of really deep intuition. It's a great time. The full moon energy is a great time for divination. So your intuition is really strong at this time. So really sit with that thing that you're feeling stuck around and just listen. Deep, deep listening, because the answers are there. Our world is so busy and chaotic, as I talked about, that sometimes we don't allow ourselves the space to really just listen, not just to ourselves, but to others around us, right? If you're having some tension in a relationship, have you really been listening to that other person, right? Have you really been hearing what's going on for them? Or are you focused in the energy of being right in a situation? When we take a step back and we allow ourselves to really deeply listen and really be willing to see something in a different way than we've seen it before, that's when real change can happen. Once we have that awareness, then we're able to make a different decision than we've made in the past. So on this full moon in Aquarius, I really encourage you to look at the things. Actually, you know what? I put together 3 journal prompts for you. I want you to ask yourself, where have I felt stuck in my life? Okay. And I want you to sit with that and really look at where you've been feeling stuck, where you've been feeling frustrated, where you've been having a challenge. Take some time to journal around that. And then I want you to look deep within and say, what do I need to do to get out of my own way so that I can experience a shift in my world? And this is where that deep listening comes in, right? How can you How can you shift? How can you see things differently? Ask the divine to shine that spotlight in a different way on this situation, right? Where you're feeling stuck. And then what's the action that you need to take in order to create the shift in the world, right? So once you create this shift, then I want you to think about, how is this shift going to make a difference to those around me? Because again, we are all connected. We're not an island unto ourselves. We're connected to each other. And the Aquarian energy is really about community. It's about the greater good, but it does all start with us. Okay. So again, those questions are, where have I felt stuck? What is a situation where I have felt frustration or lack of movement? Sit with that, journal with that. What do I need to get out of my own way so that I can see this from a different perspective and then take action to make a shift in the world, in my world, and then in the world at large? And then the final question is, when I create this shift in my world, how is this going to serve others, and how is it going to affect those around me, right? And then the other thing that I want to talk about for the final thing for full moon energy is, I always like to do a gratitude practice on the full moon. I really work with the cycles of the moon for my own personal growth. And I always am setting intentions on the new moon. And then I do the work to bring that into fruition, those intentions into fruition between the new moon and the full moon. And then on the full moon, I kind of take an inventory of the things where I've made progress and I celebrate them, right? A lot of people talk about using the full moon for releasing. And I really like to use the energy in the days after the full moon for releasing. I like to use the energy to tap into that energy on the full moon around gratitude, really focusing in and sitting in, what am I grateful for? What are the things that I have been able to shift, right? What are the things that I have brought into my life? What are the things that I'm grateful for? Where do I find joy? And celebrate those things. Because the more you focus on that, see, we're really good as human beings at focusing on what's going wrong, but we're not so great at really focusing on and holding the energy of joy and gratitude. But when we are in that energy, it opens up, it creates space for more of that. What you focus on grows. So I like to remind myself on the full moon to stop and celebrate and have gratitude for all the things in my life that I am grateful for. So in addition to those journaling questions, I also encourage you to do some sort of gratitude practice today or in the next day or two. So there you have it. That's my Moon Magic energy update for the full moon in Aquarius. And I just want to thank you for being with me today and sharing this time, and just ask that if you feel like you have gotten something from this video, that you consider hitting the like button and or also the subscribe button. I look forward to seeing you in the next energy update. Have a wonderful and blessed full moon. Blessed be.